we're matching like almost head to toe. I'm wearing black pants.
Yeah, so it's not head to toe at all. It's literally just our tops.
Okay, alright.
I look like shit.
Yeah, same, honestly. Do we look as tired as we feel?
All right.
All right.
Time for a caffeinated bowl of S.
Soup. I thought you were just gonna be like soup.
No. I don't know why you said M so depressed.
The most I can muster.
Do we want to postpone? We can do this another time.
No. I'm excited. Hey everyone. Welcome back to SM Soup. Where we talk about
No. The #1 podcast.
with soup in the name but not on the brain. I'm Shelby.
I'm Spencer.
And we ponder life's biggest questions like waiter, how's the soup made?
All right, you're killing me. How you been, Shelby?
I've been okay.
How you been since the last time we recorded?
I've been okay.
Okay.
How have you been?
Been pretty good, I guess.
Wow, that's good.
What have you been up to?
Oh, literally nothing. I just sit at my computer for 10 hours a day.
A lot of work.
And try to not get headaches every hour. So I bought an ice roller.
Yeah.
I was like, I deserve something nice. It's been great, honestly. I've had it one day. And I think it's life-changing. And not for any of the reasons that I would say it's advertised for. I just like to sit there and roll my temples because they hurt. And also, I've realized we've changed a lot as people recently.
Like you and me?
Yeah. Like, we run out of butter knives now.
Oh, okay. What does that have to do with the ice roller?
Nothing. I've moved on. Like, I used to think... we were people who didn't even need butter knives besides like the occasional like, oh, this piece of bread wasn't cut very well. But we like run out of butter knives now in our week. That's crazy. Well, because
we still only have like 7 butter knives.
I know. That's what I'm saying though, because we've had that set for years. And, like, we've had pieces that we've, like, oh, we have to go get more because we use them so much. Like, we had to go get more forks, like, immediately upon having our set. And then we had to go and get more spoons because we kept running out of bowls. And what do you use most of the time for a bowl? A spoon.
I hear you said we kept running out of bowls, but didn't say that we needed to get more bowls.
We did get more bowls.
I know.
We had, like, 3 sets of bowls.
I know, but you said we kept running out of bowls, so we got more spoons. How does that solve your issue?
Well, I'm saying is,
I know
like,
what you mean.
as we've built
it's not what you said.
Our eating set, we've been like, wow, this is a category we use a lot. And whether we did have a dishwasher, didn't have a dishwasher, whatever the situation was, we were like, we need more of this to get through our week.
Why are we going through knives?
I don't know. I'm saying we're clearly different people now because these same 7 butter knives have lasted us since like 2018.
Okay. I don't get what you're
And now we're going through them. Okay. And I think the big thing is that now we make our own bagels.
Yeah, I was going to bring this up.
Yeah, go ahead.
You brought it up in a
weirder way.
Yeah, dumber way.
Okay, cool.
I was going to bring it up.
No, please, try your way. No,
okay.
Cut it back. Yeah.
All right.
Start over.
Act like Shelby
Spencer, what have you been doing this week?
Act like you didn't hear that Shelby's made homemade bagels.
Spencer, I didn't say that. I said we've been having bagels.
You said homemade.
Oh.
You said we make our own bagels
They
now.
could have maybe thought it was you. I didn't say I do.
No, I know, but come on now.
Okay. Spencer, what have you been up to this week?
Well, I was going to say, Shelby, that there's something that I'm a little pissed off about.
What are you pissed off about?
Once again, you have done something, and you've done it for the first time.
Uh-huh.
And you were just immediately good at it.
I wouldn't argue that. They were okay.
They were really good.
They were okay.
Shelby made bagels.
I did.
And they were good, especially for somebody who was doing it for the first time.
They were very messy to make.
They were messy to make, but this was before you did the.
Yeah.
So now, today, when you make more, you're gonna try and do it with like the
Yeah.
less water or whatever.
Yeah. I had to
But I
look.
also think
I had to look up some tips and tricks to general baking.
I feel like the rolls that we
Things.
then had
Yeah.
were almost too dry.
I know. I agree.
Okay.
I think I
all
have
right.
to find a middle
All
ground.
right. Nice. Glad we were in agreement. Glad we talked about this.
Basically, I'm learning some of the basics to baking I should have just known for most of my life.
I guess.
But instead, my brain always just goes, it's baking. You have to have the ingredients exactly as they are on paper, which in one way, kind of, but in another way, it still matters about ratio more than
This ratio.
It matters about ratio and consistency more than
This
like
ratio.
what someone wrote down once upon a time. So I had to Google a bunch of shit, and they were like, "Oh, but how humid is it?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's the heat, not the humidity. You know, like shit like that." So we made our own bagels,
Shelby made bagels.
and we used everything bagel seasoning,
Shelby used everything bagel seasoning.
and it was a good experience as a whole, and it was our breakfast
really
like all week.
They came out really good.
And we're getting into like we don't have a toaster, so we just kind of heat them up and dry them out a little bit, and then spread whatever we want
We
on
just
them.
bake them in the oven.
Yeah, but that's not
Throw
really
them in there.
doing. It's not doing anything other
It
than
effectively
heating them up
toasts
and drying them out.
What's the difference between like what's the toast
I don't
setting?
know, but
Is it
ours
not just
don't
baking?
toast.
They do. They get
No,
hard.
they don't.
Yes, they do.
Not nearly like a good toast.
Well, probably because we're just impatient.
No, it's because we don't have a toaster. I'm gonna Google it. Toast versus baking.
I just don't know what the difference is. Oh, I think toast probably only like does one side of, like, you know how like I'm guessing there's heat on top and heat below.
Yeah.
With baking, and with toasting, it probably only sets the top, right, and just toasts like the top.
I think so.
I'm wondering if that's it, because I'm thinking of like the toaster oven we had and like the heating coils.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Who cares? Anyway, if you didn't know, Shelby has this knack for picking up something for the first time and being like pretty okay at it, and then instantly is just good at it. It's kind of annoying, but also I benefit, so
Yeah.
I get good bagels.
We need to make another batch after this because we ate them all.
Yep.
They're great on egg sandwiches.
They're great on egg
They're great with peanut butter. Great with cream cheese.
I don't get the whole everything with peanut butter. It's
Oh
not
my
very good.
God, I think it's fine. Listen,
I didn't say it wasn't fun. I just don't get it. I don't think it's good.
I don't know. It just doesn't bother me. And
It's not about bothering you. I
Like,
just don't understand.
okay.
Like, why wouldn't you just make, like, you're telling me that you
Hey.
like everything
yes,
bagel seasoning
yes,
and peanut butter.
yeah.
Like,
I don't really
more
like
than
plain
you
bagels.
more than you like, a plain bagel is just like bread. Basically.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you.
You don't like peanut butter bread.
I do, but if it's on a bagel, when you're eating a bagel, there's just
Stop
more.
saying it like that.
There's just more breadiness there. Like it's more than just a piece of bread.
Disagree.
It's like thicker.
I mean, it is more than a piece
So
of bread. Sure.
when you're eating it, like it's different from like toasting a piece of like wheat bread. And you're like, okay, I'll just eat this really
But
quick.
but like everything,
when you put it on a bagel, the bread ratio feels so much more that I never feel like I get the peanut butter ratio right. And I'd rather not slap a shit ton of peanut butter on there. And then sometimes I feel like I'm just like gnawing on bread for 3 hours straight. So I like a little bit of flavor on the bread of a bagel so that it doesn't feel so just like whatever. Also, growing up, my family is obsessed with flavored bagels and flavored cream cheeses, but I'm not a big fan of cream cheese, so I had to get used to putting peanut butter on whatever flavored bagel was there.
I don't understand how you aren't a big fan of cream cheese when every fucking dip we have has cream cheese in it.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I wouldn't go at a block of cream cheese.
Why?
Because it doesn't seem appealing.
Okay, yeah. All right. I get what you're saying, but it tastes good.
Okay.
It's like mayonnaise.
Do mayonnaise taste good?
Do mayonnaise taste good?
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, like especially
mayonnaise
if you
freak me
especially
out.
if you use it as like a base for a sauce, I think it's good.
That's true, I guess.
I used to be obsessed with mayonnaise.
Really? That's
I used to
disgusting.
love mayonnaise.
You're disgusting.
Okay. Glad we had this conversation. No, like if I got like a hoagie.
Yeah. You just put mayo all over it.
What are you
How do
saying?
you feel about mayo? What? If you got a hoagie?
You say mail?
Mayo. Why are you acting like I'm saying everything wrong right
Ham
now?
and cheese. You said bagel weird 17 times. Ham and cheese, lettuce, tomato, onion, mayo. I do still get mayo on my cheesesteak hoagies from back home.
Would you put it on a hot dog?
Would I put mayo on a hot dog?
Yeah.
That's two things that I don't like.
That's
so,
fair.
No.
You don't like mayo?
Well, no,
Are you saying you don't like mayo?
Hang on.
But you say you like mayo.
Hang on.
It's
Sorry.
like mayo. You love mayo.
I like mayo, but I don't.
You need there to be other things.
I don't like mayo.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a good consistency.
And a mayo, just two ingredients, mayo and hot dog, sounds terrible.
That does sound terrible. Anything on hot dog sounds terrible to me.
Shelby, I know you want to do a deep dive into something.
But you have something to talk about?
But
or you just want me to get onto it? Okay.
I just wanted to bring up a little fact that I shared with you to just talk about it real quick.
Oh, God.
I brought it up. It was Mike's intro for
the
Good Game, Bad Game podcast. We have all found out that Clayton Kershaw, all-star caliber pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. This works into our discussion today.
Our discussion.
World Series winner now, Cy Young winner. He's won the pitching triple crown, I think. Nobody who listens to this is going to fact check me.
He's a pitcher, and he's on what team?
The Dodgers.
The Los Angeles Dodgers. Continue.
And? Wait, what?
No, I'm just making sure,
okay.
Because sometimes I feel like you just, say a name, and you're like, everyone knows who that is. And so I'm just trying to make sure, place has been said.
Top 5 pitcher in baseball.
I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just saying, sometimes you just brush
probably
over the facts. Most people would be like, how can I tie him to something?
Probably the best pitcher of our generation.
Yeah. Okay, but that still doesn't mean people know.
I know. Okay. I already got there. I'm not saying these things now to say that, I've given enough.
Okay. Yep.
Stop interrupting me. He's a nepotism baby.
Okay.
His great uncle discovered Pluto. Then did
he undiscover it? Because what was that weird few years where it didn't exist as a planet?
Well, that wasn't. I mean, no. He didn't he just discovered Pluto.
Okay.
That's it.
Did he name it himself?
I don't know. Why are you ruining this?
Because I want to know to what degree it was involved.
If the person who fucking discovered the sun,
yeah,
right? They discovered it. They were the first to see it. They were the first to find it, right?
Yeah.
From there, I don't know. Okay. All it is that he discovered it.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if he had a say in calling it a planet for the first time. I don't know if he had a say in then saying it wasn't a planet. And then I don't know if he had a say in calling that 10th planet a planet. So then they had to decide, is Pluto a planet? But if Pluto's not a planet, then nothing beyond Pluto can be a planet. I don't know if he had anything to do with any of that, okay? I just know that he saw Pluto.
First.
Allegedly.
And
I just think that's crazy.
That is really crazy, actually.
Because, I think the coolest thing to happen in my family is I moved to Boston. I think I own the coolest thing in my family.
Really?
Clayton Kershaw has to duke it out with his great uncle over World Series winner or discovered fucking Pluto.
My great aunt tried to make it to every continent, and the only one she didn't make it to was Antarctica. So when she passed away, they debated sending some of her stuff to a pair of her shoes to Antarctica. Just say she stepped on Antarctica.
I hope to have fuck you money one day so that I can go to Antarctica. Because the only way you can go there is if you're a scientist, right?
Yeah, or you pay a shit ton of money to go on probably a boat that has half scientists on it who are there.
Literally, I just want to dip a toe.
It's so cold.
Like, I just want to like put my foot. Like, I just want to touch it and then
They'd
be
have
like,
to cut it off
we're
immediately.
good.
I'm joking.
Not.
I'm joking.
I'm gonna have
joking.
clothes on. I'm
I'm
gonna have boots
joking.
allegedly.
Boots. You can go like kayaking down there and
Do
you're
your
all
fucking shit.
suited
I'm
up.
so sick and tired of you with this episode.
Does that make Clayton Kershaw a nepotism baby?
No, it doesn't. But it's just funny because
Because
so
of course something incredible happened in someone who's so
well,
like
yeah. I mean, I would say no
accomplished.
because like
I'm gonna say no also.
I feel like nepotism typically comes from like a parent, a direct relative.
Also, it would have had to have like I'd say like really set you up and influenced you for like the life you had.
Right, and let's
I
be
don't think
honest,
this
most
set him
people who
up.
made discoveries
What'd they get for it?
didn't get a lot.
Exactly.
I would say.
They maybe got their name mentioned once.
Right,
they got deep.
recognition.
Yeah, but recognition, I feel like in the
Maybe
community that talks about it, not on a grander
maybe
scale.
it was easier for them to write like a thesis or a paper that
Right.
got like put into a book and they got
Right.
royalties for it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like
it would be you'd have an easier time.
Yeah, I agree. There's like a small trend. I feel like it's basically already dead going around TikTok because nepotism babies were like the conversation for the past.
Well, yeah,
little bit.
because 2022 was like the year of Hollywood nepotism babies.
I mean, yeah, it's just a lot of people of like that are big in our generation finally having families. Is that
What?
it? I don't know.
No,
Who had
it's
babies?
no. It's like people who are our age breaking into Hollywood.
Oh, and their parents
their parents are
established.
fucking Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman.
I don't know who you're referencing.
Maya Hawke.
I'm joking. But so people were like,
how do you have both of them be your parents?
So people on TikTok would be like, I'm a nepotism baby. My mom, a first grade school teacher,
Right.
and my father, an electrician,
Yeah.
have really set me up for this. Like, and then they'll say they're probably like a very average job,
Right.
like joking that like
They're a
parents.
school electrician.
yeah. But that they're middle class, getting by family is what set them up for their maybe middle class life.
No, I saw somebody say something like, "My mom was my third grade teacher. Does that make me a nepotism baby?"
Yeah.
Stuff like that. No, but it's always really funny because like there's a trend that there's like a meme format, I'll call it, where it's like somebody does something and they're like in the news or something, and then it's just like it suddenly blew up that people realized that like a young actor or actress or a young director or whatever
tends to have ties.
It's like, oh, if you go to their Wikipedia page, it's really weird that their parents have a hyperlink.
Yeah.
It's like you only have a hyperlink if you are also notable, basically.
Right.
And so it like became this like long running thing, and then there's the whole thing where it's like never ask a woman her weight, never ask a man, or no, never ask a woman her age, never ask a man his wage, and never ask, and then it's like insert like celebrity, and it'll always be something to like, and then you literally look it up and it's like, oh, this person did some terrible thing, or oh, of course their parents are literally the reason they are in the industry that they're in, and it's not because they actually have talent necessarily.
I mean, they've probably had a lot of training to gain skills.
Yeah, I'm not saying they don't like deserve it based on like talent all the time, but
I know there's situations for sure.
Wouldn't have had the training if it wasn't for.
Well, right, obviously.
It's crazy though.
I feel like the phrase nepotism baby or whatever will grow and become this really annoying thing because like I can see it like, okay,
it's gonna get overused.
1000%. I feel like it already basically is. But I can picture it like in like 15 years you like are living in like more of a small town like what we came from, and the few people who have like the family names, you're being like, oh, the freaking nepotism baby of the.
But that's what
blah,
it
blah,
is.
Blah. It is, but like I guess it is on a small scale.
No, like it's just if anything we're just calling more attention to nepotism. Like that's it. Like you know how the whole thing is like it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. That's nepotism.
Yeah.
Like that's all that is. Yeah. That's bullshit. Like making connections, sure. But if your connection is my grandfather, like my connection is my grandfather, that's nepotism.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting into Harvard because my grandfather went and my father went. Like you didn't fucking work hard. You had a last name. The first person worked hard, maybe, probably. And then you're coasting now. So I think calling attention to it is actually a good thing in some situations.
Yeah, I think there are situations.
And I think a small town is the perfect example of like, oh, so and so can get away with anything because they're white and also because of their fucking last name.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's crazy is,
So like okay, if a person works at a state university, their child can go to that university for a discount or free. Is that nepotism?
no, I wouldn't say that's nepotism. I would say I would say a university having a strict requirement to have a 4.0 GPA
Mm,
and letting
yes,
somebody whose father is whose father is like a huge donor get in with a 3.2 GPA is nepotism.
that's fair. Yeah, I agree.
What's crazy is baseball. Like you don't realize, and this isn't necessarily nepotism, it's just like it more so just makes sense that like it's like the whole acting thing where it's like you had the training and stuff
I
like
mean, you were surrounded by it from a
right.
very young age, so you either were very interested in it or you probably completely went the opposite way.
Yeah. Like I think it's only worth calling out if Miley Cyrus wasn't a good singer
Mm-hmm.
and she only got into music because her like dad was a singer,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it'd be like, okay, well, she clearly doesn't have talent. But it's like she's still trained and everything, so it's
Yeah.
like whatever.
I
You
mean, I
get
think
a leg up.
she's more than proved success on her own.
But baseball's like that. Like
Yeah.
it is just somebody is related to somebody somehow.
Yeah.
Like almost 9 times out of 10, it's crazy. Like, and sometimes it's just like their father played, never made it past AAA, but it's
Right.
like, but their dad was still that close, which is
Yeah.
insane.
He had like the groundwork in to like know
Yeah,
how to work at it.
or like uh, Mike Yastrzemski, like his grandfather was Carl Yastrzemski, who's like a great Boston Red Sox player, like
Mm.
of all time. And it's like Mike Yastrzemski's kind of like whatever, but it's like he's got like the baseball blood in him, basically. And it's just like it's crazy.
It is crazy. I think there's a fine line on like what has been like handed. I mean, obviously, again, if you're raised in a situation where it's around you from a young age, you are just going to be more prone to like getting more access to it.
Right.
But also, like, I don't know. It's hard to call when something is like been done unfairly just because of like your life circumstances versus like plenty of people still work hard to get in certain situations. But there'll always be, again, the like upper hand of I've been
Yeah,
working at this since I was like 8.
I'm not saying the Kardashians don't work hard. I'm saying that
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where my
calling
line is.
calling
I just know it's
who
a
is it?
fine line.
Is it Kylie was like the first like
Oh my
self-made
god.
billionaire? It's like
Yeah.
self-made.
That I don't really agree with. That I
Self-made.
don't agree with.
Self-made.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's like saying Elon Musk, like, I don't even know what struggled to, I don't even know what people say about him anymore. Struggled to get where he is today, had to work hard to get there. What was it? What's the whole thing with him? Like from an early age, like what he had to build up or whatever, something stupid. Doesn't even matter. But regardless.
Yeah, it was like a whole thing where he had to like come to America,
Yeah.
you know.
With like no money to his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless.
And then he also like he recently had an interview or not long ago where he basically was like, I don't know where this whole like emerald mine thing came from. Like it's completely made up. But then somebody pulled up an interview where he said it. Like
Oh
he
my
was like,
god.
"You won't believe this if I tell you, but my father actually owned an emerald mine." It's like anyway.
If it genuinely would have been made up, I would have been like, damn, that's crazy. But like to have literally talked about it previously. Okay. So
You wanted to do a deep
I'm
dive.
doing a deep dive.
We're talking about, we did cereal. Now you're
Uh-huh.
doing something else, but
Mm-hmm.
like we're talking about this being like a recurring thing on SM
Maybe
Soup.
maybe
Probably like
monthly
one a month.
or just whenever like a subject comes up. Yeah. So this is, I know last time was just like cereals a whole. This is a slightly more, it's a specific story that occurred. It is baseball related. Um and that's because we're probably going to be talking about our trip to St. Louis, which I know we'll be talking about a million things that aren't baseball with that. But we went to St. Louis to watch baseball. So I thought it was a good lead in. And I heard this story on a podcast and it blew my mind that I'd never heard of it. And I wanted to see if you'd heard of it. And even if you have, I'm guessing not the detail that I will be saying it in. So I got the following story listening to my very long backlog of And That's Why We Drink. It is a true crime true crime and paranormal podcast, and it is hosted by M. Schultz and Christine Schieffer. And I'm so far behind. I know no one cares about this, but I'm very far behind on it. Where Christine Schieffer was out on basically maternity leave, and so they're having a bunch of hosts come in, and they had another true crime podcast called Wine and Crime, which is hosted by 3 people. Each of them took a week, like filling Christine's spot. And this story was told by the host, Lucy. I tried finding a last name, couldn't find one, but Wine and Crime, the host, Lucy. All 3 of them did a great job, but this was the story that really drew my attention. And so both great podcasts. I love those podcasts. I listen to And That's Why We Drink literally all the time. They have Wine and Crime on a good bit, and I think they're all really fun. But this episode was episode 259, called Ectoplasm, Happy Hour, and a Haunted Lawnmower. And the story covered by Lucy was 10-cent beer night. Have you heard of it?
Yep.
You have?
This is the one where I forget what team it was. Let me see if I can get there. But they decided to offer 10-cent beers.
Yeah.
And people got so belligerently drunk
Yeah.
that I think they started throwing stuff onto the field.
Oh, just you
and
wait.
they might have stormed the field.
Just you wait.
And the game, if I remember correctly, had to be called.
Just wait.
And
don't ruin my story.
Okay, I'm sorry, but my guess for the team that ran the promotion, was it the Minnesota Twins?
It was not.
Was it the Kansas City Royals?
It was not.
Was it? Is it still a team?
It is still a team.
Okay. Making sure it wasn't.
I'm literally gonna ruin it in like the first sentence, so if you want to keep guessing by all means.
Where, like, in the country are they?
I think it's considered Midwest.
Midwest. Was it Milwaukee?
No.
Was it Chicago?
No.
Was it?
You're close, location-wise.
It wasn't Minnesota. I don't know
No, it
why the
wasn't
Twins
Minnesota.
were so in my head.
Maybe they did something similar, but that's
No.
not the story. We had no excuse to not see them during college, but for some reason we never did.
Cincinnati? Was it the Reds?
No, it's the other Ohio
Cleveland?
team. Yeah, I didn't realize.
The now Guardians.
Yes,
But at
now
the time,
Guardians.
they were the Spiders.
Nope.
Well, what were they?
The Spiders?
Yeah, they were the Cleveland Spiders at some point.
They were?
Like way back.
Oh, we're not that way back.
What foolish baseball calls
They
them.
were before the Cleveland Guardians. They were the Cleveland Indians.
Shelby.
Yeah.
You bigot.
I'm not the idiot who decided that was a good idea.
That's the, yeah.
And they
Can we-
stayed too long. Yeah, we can talk about it.
Can we talk about that?
It was my first line. I just put, wow.
Why?
Why did it take this long, too?
Why?
I mean, why ever? But, like, people
Right.
suck. So, like, but why did it take this long?
But, like, okay, like, Indians. The football team?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's just heinous.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like any of it.
Like, imagine the uproar if a team was called the Cleveland Crackers, and the mascot was John Smith, like, and he walked around, and it was just a basic ass white dude.
Oh my God.
You know,
Yeah.
people would be up in arms about that. That's racist. They would only be saying that because of the outcry for the fact that this shit is actually racist. But I digress.
Right. So obviously I did hear this story from another podcast, and there was really no other way to tell it. She said it basically as exactly as I read it on the line, but I did like research it and like look at it. But again, obviously I heard this from technically And That's Why We Drink, but technically Lucy from Wine and Crime. End of story. So, are you ready for 10-cent beer night?
I think I got it. Like
I mean,
know
yeah,
it.
but I say small like game details. There's a lot of names, but I tried to always have like some kind of detail next to them, and omit names when it's not really important, because of course all the things were like this guy, then this guy.
Trying to
But
think, this was in the 70s.
yeah, so June 4th, 1974 was the event.
June 4th, 1974.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So this event that happens is again on a Tuesday. A Tuesday. Keep that in your mind. June 4th, 1974. The game that was 10-cent beer night was the Texas Rangers at the home of the Cleveland Indians. This promotion was obviously created to help improve attendance to the game by offering low alcohol content beer for 10 cents each. The estimated cost in 2021 of a 10-cent beer would be 55 cents a drink, which was considered obviously a pretty heavy discount from the usual 65 cents a beer.
Mm-hmm.
To in 2021, that 65-cent beer would equate to $3.57. So they went from spending almost $4 a beer to spending 55 cents a beer in 1974. That was the promotion. And you might be asking yourself, was there a limit to the purchase?
There most certainly was not.
Absolutely not. One site said completely unlimited. Another site said you could purchase 6 beers in one go, but there was no limit the whole night to how many times you could come back and buy more.
Right.
So basically unlimited is the answer to that. But I'm sure they were just like, we don't want to hand someone like 20 in one go. And that was their way of like kind of controlling the situation. So the Cleveland Indians had held similar promotions previously, including a nickel beer day in 1971. There was no reported events from that day, but clearly they're like, that's their thing. It's like these really cheap beer nights. So a
Which
week
tells me that they must have had like awful
they
attendance
definitely
regularly.
did, yeah.
Let's see the attendance for this game. Do you have that?
I have it
Okay.
at
All right.
the final night, yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. So leading up to this event, are the Rangers and the Guardians like rivals? Because they
No, the
wrote it as
Rangers-
like they were at the time.
Maybe at the time. I don't know what the 1974
Obviously.
landscape of baseball was, but
Yeah.
the Rangers currently are an AL West team, while the Guardians now are an AL Central team. I don't know though, because there's shifting every now and again
Right.
in baseball.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago that the NL had 16 teams and the AL had 14 teams.
Right.
And then they
I
just
remember that.
made the Astros an AL team, and it's 15-15. But like the Brewers used to be an AL team, now they're an NL team, so on and so forth. So they could have been in the same. I mean, if you think about, for the most part, baseball's pretty good about like, if you're in the East, if you're a team that is on the East of the US, you're
Yeah.
probably in the NL or AL East.
Yeah.
Except for the Pirates. They're in the NL Central.
Right.
But like for the
Yeah.
most part, that's how it works. And so when you think about the Rangers, Texas would be Central, right? Same with like the Astros. Astros
Yeah.
were NL Central. So maybe they were in the same division is what I'm getting at.
I also just feel like something can happen in a game, and then they can be like, ooh, and like that carries on for like so long, depending
Yeah.
on the build of the team at the time and like how long those players are sticking around.
Yeah, but the problem is that for the most part, you're absolutely right. I'm trying to think.
But also
The
I
Blue
know
Jays and
they
the
would
Rangers.
play themselves less frequently.
Blue Jays and the Rangers, I think, had like a little spat.
Yeah.
Rivalry.
Yeah.
Typically, those rivalries only last for the length of a series.
Right.
Maybe for the rest of the year.
Right.
But you don't play a team outside of your division, especially previously. It's going to change, but like you don't play a team outside of your division enough for there to be like bad blood.
Interesting. Yeah. I wasn't sure, and they didn't really go into detail,
Like-
but they made it sound like even before all of this, things were tense between the teams. And then this obviously just like was an escalation of events.
Gotcha. Yeah, like until this coming year, this next baseball season,
Yeah.
You'd play every team in your division like 19 times each.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
And then you'd play every other team like 6 or 7 times
Hmm.
in your league.
Right.
And then you wouldn't even play the other league, and that's
Right.
all changing.
Gotcha. Well, the week prior to 10-cent beer night. What's up, Grogu? Do you want to hear about baseball? The week prior to 10-cent beer night, They were in Arlington with the Rangers, and there had been a bench clearing brawl, which obviously left things great for leading up to 10 Cent Beer Night. And I'm now going to describe some of the events of the week prior to 10 Cent Beer Night. So they're in Texas for the game. It began in the fourth inning when a walk occurred for Rangers' Tom Grieve, which was then followed by a single. So there are two people on base.
Mm-hmm.
And when the following batter hit, the Indians' third baseman, John Lowenstein, retired the first runner, but when throwing to second, the one who had hit the single slid into the second baseman, thus disrupting the play,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe he was called safe. So obviously fans were not happy because it is fair to say when they say slid into, the second baseman was basically taken out.
Yeah, and thinking about like old school baseball,
Yeah.
sliding into second base was like you as a runner had the right to try and murder the person covering the base. It
Right.
was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a video of a dude like full on body checking somebody like in the base path, and like nobody batted an eye. They were called
That's
safe, like
crazy.
all this other stuff.
Yeah. So that obviously caused some anger, and I'm sure back and forth. I can literally picture like baseball today. People are like yelling and like the umps trying to like get everything under control. But it did cause for pretty good like crowd outcry. Same game, the the Indians decided to retaliate. So the bottom of the eighth, Indians pitcher Mitt Wilcox threw behind Randall's legs, the guy who had slid into their second baseman. And then eventually Randall did bunt, but he was tagged off by the pitcher. And immediately following the tag, the pitcher, immediately following the tag, the hitter, Randall, elbowed the pitcher, like for obviously no good reason, just because he's angry.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately following that, Indians first baseman responded by punching him in the face, and which ended with both benches clearing for an all-out brawl. And during this event, the Rangers fans were throwing their food and beer at the Indians team, and the catcher of the team of the Cleveland Indians had to be restrained from entering the stands to fight the fans. Like everyone was like pissed.
Wait, Rangers fans
fans were throwing food at the Indians.
But this was in Cleveland?
No, this was in Texas the week prior.
Oh, you're talking about the event prior.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. Like this is
I
what
thought you were
leads
talking
up
about
to 10 Cent
I thought you were
Beer
talking
Night.
about 10 Cent Beer Night.
No.
Already.
No, this is the week prior.
Gotcha.
Which leads up to the escalation.
Gotcha.
But like they're already throwing shit at the Cleveland team in Texas over a brawl that was like 2 seconds, but still was a brawl. I mean, the first baseman did punch one of their hitters in the face. But so obviously everything came under control, but the catcher did have to be restrained from entering the stand to fight the fans. And which I can only imagine seeing that happen in real life.
If we're talking about this, we should talk about Malice at the Palace, where when Ron
Artest
went into the crowd and started beating the shit out of people because they absolutely fucking deserved it. I think, real quick,
you can cover that at some point if you want to.
You as a fan, like, because this started happening after like people were able to go back to games because like there was a year where this thing called COVID happened, and like. You know, sporting events had.
I mean, it's still happening, but they didn't let.
Oh, I know.
They didn't let people sit in events.
But yeah, like there was no crowd at games.
Yes.
And when people started coming back, it was like we just didn't know how to act anymore as human beings, and so like people were constantly throwing like water bottles or like just shit, like dumping beer on players.
That's
and
disgusting.
Like I know. And I think that the league is stupid. I think like when you buy a ticket, it should be you waiving your rights as
I feel like you probably are.
No, you aren't, because you're like protected that like if a basketball flies into the seats and you break your nose, like the team's probably gonna have to do something for you, like all this other shit. But like it's so ridiculous because like players get like huge reprimands for basically being treated like less than human.
Yeah.
And I think that
they're
like
a bunch of show ponies.
Yeah, I think that like if you fucking buy a ticket, like, and then you act out of line and like, even if you say an obscenity to a player, if it goes far enough, that player has every right to beat your ass. Because, like,
I just want to know, like, I'm laughing because to me the whole situation is crazy. Like, that's why I'm laughing. I would never, ever, ever, ever be someone who thinks I have the right or the want to, like, do that. And it is crazy to me when I overhear people or overhear stories absolutely saying the craziest things, like, acting like they have, like, they fucking own the team and,
yeah.
like, have the right to,
Oh, like
like,
when people
be mad at
go
people.
into a player's DMs and are like, "Thanks
Yeah.
for costing me my fantasy game," and
Yeah.
then they like call them the N word or something, and
So
then the
stupid.
player screenshots it and posts it
Yeah.
because they decide, you know what, I'm gonna have that energy today, and
Yeah.
then the dumb fucking kid who said it in the first place is just like, "I don't know why you have to put me on blast like that," like, and then people like defend them. They're like, "He's just a kid," you know. It's just like, no.
No, because somewhere he got such a sense of entitlement that, like, I don't know what the fuck someone did wrong there.
I think if you throw a beer at a player,
Yeah,
if you throw food at a player, you deserve to have your ass beat.
I kind of did too, but
And like here, and I'm like the type of person where like Kyle Lowry, I'm going off on a tangent. Basketball player,
yeah.
I fucking hate Kyle Lowry.
Okay.
Most punchable face in the NBA.
Okay.
And here's the thing:
You would
if
never.
I had the if I had the opportunity to punch him in the face,
Uh-huh.
knowing full well I'm about to get my ass kicked,
Yeah.
I'd probably take the opportunity.
Okay.
But I would understand that there's
There's repercussions.
repercussions for my actions.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
You know, I'm not
Yeah.
just gonna throw a beer at him or punch him in the face and then run.
Right. I'm gonna be that person. I don't know all of your qualms with that person, but watching a sport, I sit there and I go, you know what? I'm watching a game. I'm watching a bunch of people play a game that they clearly worked hard to be here and like have to do a lot of things and like they put their body through a lot. But at the end of the day, someone's gonna win, someone's gonna lose. And then I'm gonna go home and my life's gonna continue. And I know that's from me, not a mega sports fan. So I know some people are like I don't want to say like it's just a game because I know people hate hearing that, but it's just a game. Like me being there doesn't change the outcome of the game. Me yelling doesn't change the outcome of the game. I can enjoy the game. I can go, "Oh, that sucked. We lost." And then it's over.
Yeah.
And there's no need for it to like ruin my day, ruin my life, be the thing I have to yell about at work the next day.
Yeah.
I don't need to like vow that like I don't know, I'm going to like do something stupid the next
Uh-huh.
time this player does like that's insane to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I can't relate. It does like my head can't be
Well, my
wrapped
qualms
around.
with Kyle Lowry
Well,
are if
I'm
you
saying
see
I
his face and then you see the facial expressions he makes during a game,
Okay.
you too would say,
I'm not
"Wow,
saying
he has a punchable
I'm
face."
not saying I don't get annoyed with people and I'm not like, oh, I'm not a big fan of them. I just it's the next level of like I feel like it's like this feeling of needing to take something in your own hands. Like I feel like that's how some fans see it is like they need to take action to their own hands. Like that's going to do anything. And like they have the right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
In a sports game that they're watching, like you are nothing in all honesty. Like that's what I don't understand. It's like feeling the need to take the next step. I'm not saying you can't dislike, like, love, hate. I don't care. Like you're gonna have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like if anything, most of them are drumming up that opinion to like get a reaction. But like it's the next step of feeling the need to do something
Right.
about it.
Well, if the Cardinals don't win the World Series this year, I'm going to take matters into my own
Yeah.
hands. I'm gonna own the team.
Okay, you do that. So, anyway, things got out of hand. This is the game in Texas the week before 10-cent beer
Thank
night.
you.
You're welcome. I definitely did say that, but I think you were Googling the 70s roster of both teams. I swear I said it. Sorry if I didn't, but I swear I said it. No one was suspended. The game was not forfeited. No players were ejected. All of the above. Rangers won 3-0.
Different times.
So,
I was
after
when
the
baseball was still baseball. There were no bat flips and
after the game in Cleveland. Oh, nope, sorry. I skipped the paragraph. After the game, a Cleveland reporter asked Rangers manager Billy Martin, quote, "Are you going to take your armor to Cleveland?" And to which he responded, quote, "Nah, they won't have enough fans there to worry about."
nice.
Which in normal circumstances is probably true. But
It's a great dunk.
it's pretty funny. But the week leading up, animosity was growing. Sports reporters, of course, sports like talk radio hosts are like drumming up excitement, you know, the
Right.
usual. We can all imagine it. Like, oh, now the Rangers are coming to Cleveland. They're getting everyone riled up. And of course, even
Cleveland's attendance was 7th of 12 in 74.
really,
That's not bad.
but also think about it's a Tuesday night game. Like it's a midweek
Right.
series, which
Right.
does influence. I don't know. The way they're talking, they were acting like they generally didn't have good attendance, but
I
no one
mean,
was giving numbers. People were just like talking about it. Like of all fans, Cleveland's not going to get into it. Like that's kind of how they were acting about
right.
it. It's like in 2022, you're like, I'm going to a Pirates game. The fans don't care. Like I feel like that's how they talked about it. Like you were going to a Pittsburgh Pirates game.
Right.
But regardless, um the week also leading up to it, there were small cartoon strips published in a local newspaper that this just goes to show how absolutely stupid it is that no one had it. I'm not saying no one, but the general population didn't have an issue with the Cleveland Indians being named the Cleveland Indians. There was a small cartoon strip published showing Chief Wahoo, their mascot at the time.
Super offensive mascot.
Yes. Holding a pair of boxing gloves with the caption, "Be ready for anything." So clearly they're trying to amp up like everyone. And add in the fact that it's 10-cent beer night. I'm sure they were going wild, being like, oh my God, we're actually going to have like a good threshold of people come.
And it's Cleveland,
Yeah.
the worst part of the country.
As The Good Place says, like, you're stuck in like a medium place.
Yeah,
like
no,
Cleveland.
but I think Cleveland is not medium at all. I think Ohio's dog shit. Cleveland's dog shit. The football team's name is literally the Browns,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Cleveland is.
And
What are the names of their sports teams?
They're the team that fucking traded for Deshaun Watson while he had all of those lawsuits against him. Like, just garbage. Just, I mean, there's a reason LeBron left, you know?
Ooh.
Take that.
Ooh.
Cleveland.
So it is now 10-cent beer night. Tuesday. Again, middle of the week game, generally pretty low in attendance. This promotion drew, according to a source, 25,000 fans, which was twice the expected amount of their promotion. They were handing out 12 fluid ounce cups of beer for 10 cents a piece. Again, technically 6 cups per purchase, but no limit of purchases throughout the game.
And you said a normal beer costs 65 cents, right?
Yeah, which for us is like just under $4.
Right.
It went from about $4 now to about 55 cents now. And that's what they were spending in their really.
No, but so what I'm getting at is if you were buying 6 beers, you were buying 6 for the price of 1.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And that's insane.
That is insane.
And I hate that.
And again, it's very like low grade, low alcohol content, but they're buying them in quantities.
I also hate that you drew attention to the fact that 65 cents then is now $4 now, but a beer costs you $13.
Yeah.
Granted, you might get more than just 12 ounces.
And it's probably a higher grade beer, but still. I don't disagree with you. They're technically 2021 numbers.
Wake up,
but
people.
I can't imagine.
Wake up.
2023 is that different. So regardless.
Our country is a mess.
Because of beer costs. Rangers very quickly took a 5-1 lead. And the crowd was getting somewhat quickly.
So it looks like
not that quickly.
Yeah, no, but after their half of the 6th inning, they were up 5-1.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Cool. So early into the game, Cleveland's Leron Lee hit a line drive into the stomach of the Rangers pitcher, Ferguson Jenkins.
Fergie Jenkins is I'm looking at this, and the only name I recognize
is him.
Is Fergie Jenkins. He was a pitcher.
Yep. For the Rangers.
He's in the Hall of Fame. He was pretty good. He won a Cy Young. I think he like finished pretty high. He had a really good career. Really strong career.
Very strong.
And I want to say he was probably no, I guess when he was with the Rangers, this was coming off of his stint with Chicago, where he's like relatively well known for. Like that's where he was like in his height, and then like
Yeah.
he'd hit free agency and he went to
Yeah.
the Rangers, and so 74 was his first year with the Rangers. He finished second in Cy Young voting that year.
Wow. So he
And he got
gets
hit with a line drive.
hit with a line drive in the stomach, which if anyone can't imagine, I'm sure very uncomfortable. And
I
he
mean, it's like getting punched in the gut.
yeah,
You get the wind knocked out
and
of
he
you.
immediately drops to the ground, obviously, to which fans, so a Rangers pitcher
Yep.
fell in Cleveland, and the Cleveland fans started cheering, basically like hit him again, hit him harder. Like they're already like everyone's
Hit
pissed.
him again. You know, something really
I
easy
know.
to try and do.
It was literally I know, but regardless, they're already cheering to like basically cause more harm to the other team. Throughout the game, there were multiple run on the fields by fans, including a woman who ran onto the field. They said infield and flashed her boobs and tried to kiss the umpire.
Yes.
Which of all the people on the field, you're going after the umpire?
Were they nice? The boobs.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look up a photo. If that's what you're asking.
See what I can do.
Apparently tried to kiss the umpire Nestor Chilak. Later, a fully naked man ran onto the field and slid into second base. And even after that, a father-son duo, as written, ran out onto the field and began mooning the fans. So this is all happening throughout the game as the innings go on. It is later reported fans had brought firecrackers into the game and were setting them off in the stands, as well as just chucking them into the field, causing chaos. More and more fans are running onto the field from time to time, disrupting play. Players are getting straight up food and drinks thrown at them, all of the above. Of course, none of this even includes what people are just screaming. Like, that already can cause chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're in stadiums where people are just yelling, and now, like, things are being, like, that is barely even covered because, like, everything else is so much worse that's happening. One player is almost hit in the head by an empty gallon jug of Thunderbird, which I didn't know what that was. But it is a flavored fortified wine, basically cheap ass alcohol. Like, would college me have purchased this?
Yes.
Probably, yeah. But it's in a gallon container. A gallon jug, and it generally had an alcohol content between 13 and 20%. And an entire gallon was emptied, probably glass, and thrown at a player. So, like, people were bringing who knows what into the stadium and drinking themselves in addition to the 10-cent beer night. At one point in the game, there was an argument over a call that was made. An Indian player was called safe at third, which the Rangers argued against. But my assumption is it's stuck. But somehow in the arguing and continuing of the game, this player who had been called safe was cleated so hard by the Rangers players, he had to leave the game from injury. And which of course caused an outburst from the Cleveland fans, which caused more screaming, throwing of items onto the field, etc., etc. A quote from sports writer Paul Jackson in a 2008 article recap of the event. Quote, early on, the demand for beer surpassed the Indians' capacity to ferry it to concession stands. And a luminary, perhaps the same person who suggested the promotion in the first place, decided to allow fans to line up behind the outfield fences and have their cups filled directly from Stroh's company's trucks. The promotion achieved critical mass at that moment as weaving, hooting queues of people refilled via industrial spigot. So they're just going out and filling from the truck directly because they can no longer keep filling the indoor rations of alcohol.
Oh my God.
In the bottom of the ninth, the Indians managed to tie the game.
Yes.
So right at the end of the game, they managed to tie the game.
Looks like the game got down to the final out.
Really?
That's what this looks like.
Wow, I can't believe the article didn't say that.
Fergie so the Rangers just sent out Fergie. He pitched 5 2/3, and then Steve Foucault pitched 3 innings. So that puts them at 8 2/3, which in baseball 2/3 is like the outs.
Yeah.
So they
literally had one out left.
They combined to pitch 8 innings and 2 outs. So
right.
8 completed innings, 2 outs into the ninth. They had 1 out to get.
Oh my God. Okay, so that can't believe none of them said that. So
No, I don't know if that's 1 out to get or if like they tied it and then they got another out and then shit like hit the fan.
That's true.
But they were one out from finishing the inning at the very least.
Right.
I don't know if they were one out from finishing the game.
Gotcha. Regardless, close to the end of the game, the Cleveland Indians managed to tie it. And at this point, the situation got completely out of hand. A fan, this was like one of the only fans named in the entire article. So I love that, like, this is now tied to him for the rest of his life, which he was 19 in the 70s. So, like, I'm not going to do math, but
Nepotism, baby.
whatever. Yep. 19-year-old Terry Yerkick attempted to run onto the field. Well, he ran onto the field and was trying to steal one of the Rangers outfielders' ball caps. It's basically playing like chase the outfielder. So obviously it is said the outfielder is just kind of like, what the fuck? Like nothing is happening yet, but he's kind of like, obviously like they're kind of dancing around each other. And Rangers team manager Billy Martin assumes, which fair to assume, his player's being attacked, and he basically runs out onto the field, followed by the entire dugout, all of them armed with baseball bats, like ready to defend their players for like anything that's about to happen. In response, fans start charging onto the field. Some are reported to have been armed with knives, chains, and blunt weapons fashioned out of pieces of the stadium seats they had ripped out of the ground, and like ripped apart chairs to like bring onto the field and hit people with. People who stayed in the stands are grabbing anything they can and are just chucking it at the field, trying to hit fans. It's reported at one point 200 fans surrounded the team of 25 Rangers, like all just kind of like what's about to happen, which this event was like actually pretty well photographed. Like if you just Google 10-cent beer night,
Yeah, so I have.
You see the chaos. Like this isn't like you can see it was absolute chaos.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
got images.
And there's like zoomed out ones where there's just like fans everywhere. Like the field is a mess.
Yep.
Like I like hearing about it
There's
isn't.
a person diving naked in a second.
Of course.
But yeah, it looks like a mess.
Oh yeah, it's like I would never have wanted to be there in my life because that sounds terrifying. It was reported at one point by the 7th inning, it was estimated all sober fans went home because it was getting so rambunctious that like probably anyone who wasn't also getting inebriated was like, I'm done, let's go home. So at seeing the like surrounded Rangers, the Cleveland manager, Ken Aspromonte, ordered his player to grab their bats and like come to the assistance of the Rangers because he's like, they're about to get fucked up. Like this is not okay. So the whole basically like chaos occurs. Cleveland Indian players are most definitely like just hitting anyone who's coming near a baseball player. So obviously they're basically attacking their own fans.
They were hitting people with bats?
Yes. Well, the fans are there with weapons because there probably wasn't fucking security to get into the stadium.
Right.
They've also just ripped up parts of the stadium.
Most of the fans are probably white, so
have blunt objects. Like they have pieces of stadium in their hands to just whack whoever's near them. So yes, the players came on the field with their bats and like whatever they could get their hands on, which was basically bats. And they're just hitting anyone who's near a baseball player. Like they're just trying to get the baseball players out of there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. So people were breaking their chairs out of the ground and fully chucking them onto the field, including the Indians' relief pitcher, Tom Hilgendorf, who was completely hit in the head by one, like a full-blown fucking stadium seat, which I'd love to know how those were fashioned into the stadium. Because, like, today, those things are, like, bolted down.
Right.
And I'm sure they weren't to that degree in the 70s, but, like, I'd love to know how they were constructed in the 70s. Because how are people just ripping them out of the ground? Because I'm sure they were fashioned in some way. Like, you can't tell me they were just, like, fucking lawn chairs sitting there, like, asking to be picked up. But regardless, people were obviously fist fighting. The two teams, it's just everyone fighting in the entire infield. The two teams finally managed to retreat to the dugouts and eventually into their clubhouses, basically going in groups, like, you know, safety in numbers situation. They fled to their clubhouses and locked the doors while the crowd basically just ransacked the infield. They went through the dugouts, they stole the bases, they were ripping apart the stadium further just to cause chaos. Which, can you imagine, like, okay, you grew up in Cleveland and your like grandfather, I mean, yeah, like your grandfather's like, oh, grandpa, how'd you get that
Oh,
Third base.
yeah, Grandpa. Why do you have?
Why is there blood all
Yeah.
over?
Why do you have a baseball base? Oh, I
Yeah.
stole it.
Yeah, like
I
what?
was a piece of shit.
Yeah, but I feel like that would be some. Honestly, I can already sense that was someone's like pride and joy
Yes.
that they stole that.
Yes.
But so obviously they're just like ransacking the entire field. The poor umpire who is still on the like I don't know when he managed to get out. Like it doesn't say like he got out with one of the teams. So the poor ump is just down there. Umpire crew chief Chilak decided there would be no order returned to the game and forfeited the game to Texas. This same crew chief was attacked and had basically multiple injuries, but like he was hit in the head with a stadium seat, like he had rocks thrown at him, like all of the above. He was quoted to have called it's a full-blown riot at this point. So he called the rioters uncontrollable beasts and that he'd never seen anything like that except in a zoo. Like he's like, these are fucking animals out here. It is reported the riot continued for 20 minutes of them just ransacking the stadium. While Joe Tate and Herb Score are calling it live on the radio. They never cut the broadcast. It was being called the entire time. So can you imagine sitting in your house on a Tuesday night?
What are you even calling at that
I
point?
don't know. I bet there's probably like maybe clips of it somewhere.
Right, but what is there to even say?
No. I
Like
don't
you're
know.
just saying this over and over again. This is the crazy. I have never seen anything like this before in my life. That's
probably.
it. Over and over again.
Yes.
Oh, this is just terrible.
Yes.
Like, are you doing a play-by-play? Oh, and it looks like the woman in pink has just picked up another stadium chair and she's going after crew chief Herb, whatever his name is.
Chilak or whatever.
Like,
oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't know, but it was being called the entire time. Like they never cut calling it. So finally the local police or city police showed up and finally restored order, arresting 9 fans. There were 25,000 people there.
They did their best. Hey.
This situation,
hey,
like who knows?
It's a tough job.
Who knows who left at that point? Who knows where everyone was? Like, if people, obviously, if the police show up, I'm sure people are just fucking running. Like, I'm not saying, like, you're gonna capture 25,000 people. That is not at all what I'm saying. But for the chaos that ensued, 9 people, that means those 9 people were still ready to keep going.
Yeah, they were the worst of the worst. Yeah, they would have had to have been.
They were ready to keep, like, moving. Like, they were gonna keep ripping shit up if they were arrested. Later that evening, the Cleveland players escorted the Rangers to their team bus, basically like bodyguarding them to make sure like no one was sticking around to cause any problems. So that was basically the whole event. Following the event, obviously there was a ton of press around it. The Cleveland GM blamed the umps for losing control of the game. And they were like, you didn't have it under control, which very quickly multiple sport writing outlets were like, you weren't there, you wouldn't have done shit either. Like immediately we're like, you weren't down there, shut up. Like
you made the beers 10 cents.
Yeah, exactly. But he's blaming the umps.
Yeah, I know.
Obviously not to be like someone in our organization fucked up.
Also classic. I can't be to blame.
Well, right, exactly.
This couldn't possibly be my fault.
Exactly. Which
when Occam's razor is literally staring you in the face.
The American League, so AL president Lee McPhail at the time, said there's no question beer played a part in the riot. Obviously, it was not the ump losing control of the game. Like
maybe
whatever.
This is what caused beer. Maybe this is why beer is so expensive now.
They were like, we can't afford this situation. So all the stadiums immediately hiked up the price. So the game ended 5-5, but was forfeited to the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
And fun fact, there's no like really deep dive into this, but Cleveland Indians had 3 more beer nights planned for the season. And instead of canceling them, they just set an alcohol limit to all of them. And at least from what I could tell, there was no reported events going forward. So you were limited to 4 beers per person. But it's low alcohol. I'm not saying can't.
No. So the new limit was 4. At the 10-cent beer night that this riot happened, you could get 6 beers in one go.
Yeah, exactly. But they supposedly limited it to 4 per person for the rest of the whole event. For the remaining 3 beer nights. And that was 10-cent beer night.
Crazy.
So apparently, like, at least Lucy was saying this in the And That's How We Drink episode, that like the Cleveland Guardians still sell a merch from time to time that's like survived
I survived.
I survived 10-cent beer night, or like big moments in like Cleveland history, and like 10-cent beer night will be like the fourth one on the list. Sometimes it's crossed out to be like don't pay attention to it. Like there's you can get merch like all over the place that's related to 10-cent beer night. Like they both kind of lean into it and both kind of like make fun of it because obviously like one, it wasn't that long ago, and like two, like it's
50
now
years, it was 50 years ago.
I know, but I'm saying that's like okay, that's like my mom, she wouldn't have like time wise she wouldn't have been, but some people could be like my mom could have been there, like my dad could have been there, like that's not that removed like as a human. That's what I'm saying. Like again, people in Cleveland,
Right, but like the
I'm
steroid
sure they could,
era hasn't even happened yet.
I'm sure
At that point, Michael Jordan hasn't even stepped foot on a basketball court.
I'm not saying people would remember it like it's yesterday, but like you can imagine in Cleveland, people's parents and or grandparents very easily have a story of like hearing that.
Sure.
Like, very easily. They're like either were there or like, oh my God, I was listening to the radio that night. And like it was the craziest thing I've ever heard. And I'm sure it was in the papers for like weeks.
I was listening to the radio that night. Yeah, you broke ass. I have a TV. I have 2 TVs in my living room. What's up?
Wow, that's great.
Say something.
Yeah. So yeah. Crazy. And I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm guessing if you go to Cleveland, maybe I'm sure they have what, like some kind of baseball museum. I'm sure.
Probably not.
Related to the Guardians.
Probably not.
I'm sure there's like information on it. Stuff like that. But yeah.
Crazy.
That is crazy. I had a feeling you probably would have at least heard of it.
Yeah, I knew all about it.
I
knew all about it.
The play-by-play is like crazy to me.
Yeah, it is.
Like reading it.
No, yeah, it's hard to MLB Network used to always do like over the summer in the mornings they would do like top 10, and like one of the things would be like top 10 funniest moments in baseball history, or top 10 craziest moments, and like stuff like that, right?
Right.
And like that was,
it would make it on there a little bit. That makes sense.
So I definitely heard of it, and it gets brought up every now and again too.
I'm sure.
Probably, honestly, probably anytime the Guardians and the Rangers play, there's a good chance it comes up.
I'm sure, yeah.
If they're playing in Cleveland.
Right.
But yeah, it's crazy.
I guess one, it goes to show fans have always felt entitled. Like it's not a new thing. It's not that I thought it was, but it's sometimes you just have moments, like you said, coming back from like people are finally allowed to go see things in person.
Yeah, but
it felt like there was a surge of inappropriate action. But like, and I'm sure there was. But also it goes to show like sometimes people always just suck.
Yeah.
it's not like a newfound trend.
It is funny though, because like I couldn't see something like this happening.
Me
today.
neither.
Like
no.
that would never happen.
I'd hope
like
not.
It would never like get anywhere with the idea of having a 10-cent beer night, but like I don't think a riot would ever like break out. And there's a team called the Philadelphia Phillies, and those fans are batshit. They like climb greased light poles for whatever reason.
Right.
And like even that, I couldn't see people happening like that happening. This is a different time, as they say.
Definitely. And it's crazy because like as you like have brought up previously, like with us talking about baseball, and then you kind of brought it up here, like the sport as a whole used to get away with so much more like player versus player violence and like in intense moments. And like today, it's like
today you spike your bat and you get thrown at, which is dumb.
Yeah, like there's whatever.
In hindsight, because 50 years ago, you could slide into somebody's nuts, rupture a testicle, and
the game would continue, no question.
And that person would die on the field, and you'd keep playing.
Like it is crazy the level of player, I'll say, violence used to be higher. But yeah, I don't know. Like I guess, but like this is I'm not saying it's the only sense of the only time that like a full out game wide riot occurred, but like that level of intensity, seeing that amongst players will obviously get fans riled. Like it's just like it's crazy that all the circumstances fell together. Because like I don't know. I'm just like, how did it happen? Like obviously again, alcohol is a huge effect to it, but like I'm just like how did like it obviously wasn't 25,000 by the end of the night, but like obviously quite a few thousand people stuck around to be like, we're gonna fuck this shit up. And it's just like, how did it get there? Like, how did it get there? Especially because a week prior, people were already throwing shit onto the field.
Mm-hmm.
Like alcohol not involved to the level of
No,
the week later.
It was still involved.
To the level of the week later.
Right.
Like they didn't have the ease of access to it like they did. And it's like shit's already getting thrown. So like that's what leads me to believe there clearly was a rivalry between the two before all of it.
Maybe.
I'm guessing. I don't know. Maybe
I think people in the 70s were
pissed.
just quick to anger.
You think?
I think people like, I think people are still obviously very angry today.
Honestly, I've seen people get really mad at a sports game over a lot less.
But I think like the level at which like you're mad and then willing to do something.
Yes.
Right. And I think everybody just had a really short fuse then. Mostly because they were probably beaten by their parents. So
I was waiting to see where that was going.
And I feel like people now have like a bit of a longer, like the average fuse is a bit longer, I would say. Unless you're in the Northeast. Boston, baby.
Yeah, the whole thing's crazy. And again, I laugh at the insanity of it all. If I was hearing that happen, I would be like mortified.
It's very absurd.
Yeah, I obviously don't want anyone to get hurt, and like to me, in the end, it's a very stupid thing to get physically angry over, like, and cause such chaos. But yeah, I like have to chuckle at the craziness of it. Because I can just like again, being able to look back on it and just see the whole night ending in chaos is just like wild.
Yeah,
it's a good story. I would never have wanted to live it or hear it in live,
right?
Ever, because that would be terrifying.
Right.
But
well,
baseball. Hopefully, I didn't get too muddled in baseball.
No, that was me. I kept bringing up stuff.
No, I was fine with it, and I was hoping you would. I was just trying to like kind of keep players and teams straight and like have some like, oh, this is what was happening before everything went down. But yeah.
Well, the next 2 weeks, probably the next 2 weeks, I would say we'll probably have 2 weeks worth of stories to share, between the travel and then the actual being in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So a little extra baseball will be sprinkled in, but that'll be kept more to a minimum.
It'll be much more about us than about baseball.
Much more about us and our experiences.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. But I had to lead into it with the chaotic baseball story.
Love it. It was fun.
Yeah.
What's the next deep dive going to be?
I have no idea.
Cool.
The fact that you're lucky I heard about this on a podcast a week and a half ago, or I'd have nothing this week.
Well, maybe I'll make... Look at my hair.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make another game.
Whoa. I'm down.
Maybe I'll make something similar to Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise
Did he die?
Did he die?
In this movie? Let's find out, or whatever I called it.
Yeah.
And then I deleted the note. That was so good. Oh my god.
You're the worst.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so something similar to that.
I'd be down.
Maybe it'll be about Tom Cruise again. Did he die in these movies? It won't be that, but
it'll be actor, Scientologist, or nepotism baby. All of the above.
Ooh. Could get into something like that. So yeah, look forward to that, but that won't be until after.
Yeah, it'll be in a few weeks. But yeah, good times are coming. I hope you enjoyed the deep dive, even if you're not the biggest fan of baseball. I still think
what's a good
story.
baseball soup? What's a good soup you enjoy on a hot summer day? Italian wedding.
Yum. No, you have to get clam chowder if you're in Boston. Do they sell clam chowder in the stadium?
I hope not.
Me too.
In the hot summer heat.
You can only offer it in September and beyond, the end of the season. It'd be great for end of season games.
Or early.
That's true.
April.
Yeah. There's a timeline to when you can offer clam chowder.
Hell, when we went in like June, it was cold.
I know, that was stupid.
All right.
Yeah. The end.
Bye.
Bye.